Oh, what's up, guys? What's up? Is this thing on? Yes, it is on. My name is Chef, and this is Off the Dome. Before the video starts, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. We got new videos coming for you every single day. We just dropped a video on Kanye West's new album, the review of it. Um, Decent album. Go watch the review. And we had some videos on Bryson Tiller versus Tory Lanez. So go ahead and watch those videos. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about basically the top 20 artists of the 2010s. This is part one of the video. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. So a couple honorable mentions before we get the video kicked off. We have Travis Scott, Calvin Harris, and J. Cole, who did not make the cut. And, you know, the only reason why they didn't make the cut is the parameter for these rules are this. You have to at least spend 5 years on a Billboard Hot 100. You have to have a considerable amount of stream/album sales/single sales, and you have to have a pop culture effect and longevity. J. Cole definitely has all of those things, but for the singles wise, he pretty much has he had Middle Child this year, he had Deja Vu and Workout with Power Trip. Not as huge as singles as the rest of these artists on his list has. Travis Scott, same thing. Decent album sales, decent culture impact. But he came on a later part of the 2010s. I know he started making buzz for himself in 2011. But he really didn't start blowing up to Days Before the Rodeo and the rest of those mixtapes that came out in late 2014 to 2015. So, yes. And for Calvin Harris, he's basically a producer. I struggle with putting him and DJ Khaled on the list because they are more producers than anything else. And I think this should go to the artist. So that's why Calvin Harris did not make the list. Now, to number 20, we have Mr. Black and Yellow himself, Wiz Khalifa. Obviously, he makes this list because Wiz Khalifa, whether you like it or not, he is a pop culture icon. He has taken over the landscape. He has taken off where Snoop Dogg has left it. He has basically revolutionized the rap game with being a stoner rapper, having consistent mixtapes. The Rolling Papers album, his first one, is a classic in the hip-hop scene for this decade. Probably one of the best rap albums of this decade, arguably. You have his many features, and plus Black and Yellow, See You Again, are some of the best-selling songs of the decade, with See You Again being 11 times platinum. Now we go to number 19, Imagine Dragons, one of the only rock acts to actually last throughout the whole 2010s. When you think about it, you have Foster the People, you have 21 Pilots, you have Portugal the Man, you have the Foo Fighters to a lesser extent, Avenged Sevenfold, Alice in Chains, etc. But when you talk about debuting on the charts and actually having chart success, there's not many rock acts that has had as much chart success as Imagine Dragons. And Radioactive alone puts them on this list because that's the longest song ever to be on the Billboard Hot 100, being there for 83 weeks. So Imagine Dragons has definitely earned their spot here. Now to number 18, you have Post Malone. Post Malone, he barely made the cut for this list. He was about to be an honorable mentions, but I could not take him off the list just because of how great of a 2017, 18, and 19 he's had. He's had a consistent, good last 3 years with a number one hit in every single year since basically 2016. 3 albums that have went platinum, and this Hollywood Bleeding one's probably about to be 3 times platinum by the end of this year, early next year. Beer Bongs has barely been one of the best selling albums of last year. And Stoney being a sleeper hit album that went 3 times platinum. So then, once we get off that, we go to number 17, which is, I'm very surprised that she wound up so low on the list. But due to her not having a good 2015 to 2019 until, the Star is Born soundtrack, we have Lady Gaga. She always has decent album sales. But the problem with Lady Gaga is all her biggest singles basically happened in 2008, 9, and 10. Once the 2010s hit, she had Born This Way, she had Judas, she had Alejandro, she had Applause, and she had Telephone. After that, there's pretty much a blur on her pop culture, effect. She still gets talked about, yes. She still has style and choice and a meat dress, etc. But overall impact on the landscape is not as big as it once was when she first came out. And that's all I got to say for that. Number 16, we have Future on the list, who I have to put on the list, even though he doesn't have as much as other artists as termed as top 10 hits. Album sales combined with his impact. You have to understand, Future, although being an auto-tune version of Lil Wayne and T-Pain combined, he has Designer who try to rip him off. He has rappers like Money Man that sounds just like him. He has, of course, all the Atlanta scene rappers that have a fast cadence just like him. Him and the Migos arguably started this whole trap scene that we're seeing now. Well, of course, Gucci Mane and T.I. were the innovators of it, but when we're talking about the 2010s, Future is one of the pallbearers of this. He's carrying the genre. When we go to number 15, we have Maroon 5, who has basically made sure they stayed relevant this whole decade. Every other year, they have at least one or two big hits, and Girls Like You being their biggest hits this decade, I couldn't keep them off the list. I'm not a big fan of these guys, but I have to admit that it's good that they had this longevity. And longevity is something that qualifies you for this list. So off that alone, they got to the number 15 spot. We go to number 14, a rapper who I think deserves to be in the top 5, but unfortunately, since he didn't really catch on to the mainstream until 2012, and his first top 10 hit of his own really didn't happen until 2017, Kendrick Lamar is stuck at number 14. I wanted him to be higher, I really did, but Humble, DNA, and all the Black Panther soundtrack basically happened from 2017 to now. He had no one hit with Taylor Swift, but that was her song basically. The remix did mean something, but Kendrick still didn't have a top 10 hit of his own. Now, he dropped quality albums, 3 quality albums. One of them albums I think will probably be one of the best albums of this decade in my opinion. I personally like Damn. I think Damn is better than Good Kid, Mad City. Good Kid, Mad City has better beat selection, a better story, but I think Damn has better verses. It's arguable, but I love the song Duckworth off of Damn. I love the song XX Rated. Then we have DNA. Then you also have Lust. Those 4 tracks alone, I think, makes that album one of the best albums of this decade. So we go on to number 13. We have Kanye. Kanye, although he's released some duds of projects like Yeezus and Ye wasn't as good as I thought it should have been. Even this newest one he dropped, I may have overrated it in my last video. But I do think I like the production a lot more than the verses now I think about it. But My Dark Twisted Fantasy did come out in 2010. And Life of Pablo was a pretty good album. And although he hasn't had many top 10 hits, he still does have Niggas in Paris. And I love it. And he also has 4 or 5 Seconds of Summer. And he has a lot of production credits for Big Sean and Travis Scott. So I have to put Kanye on this list. And when you talk about longevity, of course he makes that. When you talk about pop culture relevance, arguably one of the only things we talked about last year was Kanye West and his Trump debacle. Like Miley Cyrus in 2013 with the twerk fiasco and her appropriating black culture, supposedly. So we have Kanye West at number 13. At number 12, we have the person he stuck up for at the 2014 Grammys and the 2009 VMA Awards. We have Beyonce on this list at number at number 12. Beyonce, not a huge fan. I didn't like Beyonce the album like that. I really didn't. I didn't like 4. But I did think Lemonade was decent. I do think that the Homecoming album, the mixes were okay. And I think she belongs on this list. She still is a big artist. She's a legend in her own right. And although I don't like her personally, she still has had some decent amount of hits on the charts. Not as big as the 2000s, of course. But hey, when you're in the game for 20 plus years, it's hard for you to keep up. So Beyonce gets the number 12 spot. And number 11, before we go to the second part of the video, which will be coming out next week, we have Eminem at number 11. Now, Eminem originally was my number 6. But the only reason Eminem dropped a couple spots is because I realized, although the LP2 was good, and he had Not Afraid and Love the Way You Lie and big singles like that, he has been one of the top selling artists. But majority artists in this top 10 has had more chart success than him this decade. And a couple of them actually helped him have that chart success. But with Eminem, he still is one of the best selling artists of his decade. He still has some decent songs, but he's come out with a couple of duds of albums, and a couple of tracks didn't live up to the hype, but I still can't put Shady down. I don't think it wouldn't be right to keep Shady off the list. So he's at 11, just at the brink of the top 10. So guys, anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you like about it. Let me know what you dislike about it. Please comment in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe. This has been part 1 of the top 20 artists of the 2010s. Stay tuned because next week I'll be making part 2 where I will reveal the top 10 artists of the 2010s. So I'm your boy Chef from Off the Dome. Until next time, guys. Peace out. Bye.